What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I'm feeling like 100 grand.
You are listening to Inspired Insider with your host, Dr. Jeremy Wise.
Dr. Jeremy Wise here, host of InspiredInsider.com. This is a special episode where I have some amazing leaders and entrepreneurs share some of their favorite resources, so stay tuned. This episode is brought to you by Rise 25. At Rise 25, we help B2B businesses give to and connect to their Dream 200 relationships and partnerships. We do this in two ways. Number one, we are an easy button for a company to launch and run a podcast for ROI. We do the strategy, accountability, and full execution and production. Number two, we are also an easy button for your company's corporate gifting. We make gifting and staying top of mind to your clients, partners, and prospects simple and seamless and affordable. Some companies even send gifts to staff from a culture perspective. All you have to do is give us the list of people you want to follow up and keep in touch with, and we do everything else from there, from gift selection to the card to your branding on the box. We call ourselves the magic elves that run in the background to make it as stress-free as possible for companies so they can build relationships and run their business. For me, the number one thing in my life is relationships, and I am always looking at how to give to my best relationships. And I've found no better way over the past decade than having them on my podcast, featuring what they are working on and sharing it with the world, and also sending delicious treats in the mail every few months for years. If you have thought about starting a podcast or gifting, do it. If you have questions, email us at support@rise25.com or go to rise25.com to learn more. This is a great people, great resources episode. I'm here with John Corcoran. He's been on the episode probably, or on the podcast probably more than anyone else has been on the podcast at this point. But we're going to talk about favorite books, podcasts, apps and software. But we'll start with, even though I know the answer, John, not everyone may know. What do you do and what's the website?
All right. Hey, everyone. John Corcoran, and co-founder of Rise 25, longtime podcaster, 16 years now. Yeah, that's what I do. Run Rise 25 with Jeremy.
So rise25.com. And then let's start with favorite books.
All right. I have to list the stack that's always right next to me here. So there's Scaling Up by Vern Harnish, which is more like a textbook, reads like a textbook. I prefer it in audible form. It's easier to digest, I find, that way. He's the founder of Entrepreneurs Organization, which we're members of, and so I highly recommend that one. And then here's a classic. It was published, I believe, in about 1913, and I jokingly say that How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie is the best book ever written about podcasting, which didn't exist back then, but it's really about how do you make people feel. And if you make them feel like you're listening to them, like they're being heard, like you have the full focus of your attention, people will want to repay the favor. They'll want to do nice things for you. And so that's really the textbook for how to do that. The Lean Startup by Eric Ries. He just came and spoke to our EO San Francisco chapter about this new book that he is writing. And we're really privileged getting to be part of this little book club that are helping to shape this book, which is really exciting because the Lean Startup is just like the Bible for Silicon Valley. So it's really cool to be involved in that. So those are 3 books from me.
And Vern's been on, I think, both of our podcasts at this point.
That's right.
I don't know if you're going to publish your discussion with Eric on his books or not. And that may be on Smart Business Revolution, which gets us to podcasts. But outside of Smart Business Revolution, people should check out. What other podcasts are some of your favorites?
Yes, and Eric Ries actually does have a podcast, which is really good. So I'll definitely a shout out for that. Also, one I've been listening to recently, I believe it's called Moonshots. It's by Peter Diamandis, who I had on the podcast, author of Abundance and Bold and a bunch of other books as well. And he created the X Prize, and he's a real future thinker. And so has lots of great thought leaders on there. He had Reid Hoffman recently and a couple of others. So check out that podcast.
I think there was a book. I was looking up a book called Moonshots, but then I was looking, is there a book called Moonshots?
I'm not sure if he wrote a book by that name, but that's something that he talks about a lot is moonshots, is companies that just take a wild swing for the fence and try and just create something that's never been created before. That's kind of his whole thing. And yeah, so I know he's talked about that within his books, but I'm not sure if he's actually written a book by that name.
Okay. Next is favorite apps and software. I started saying, John, okay, you can't say Zoom, you can't say ChatGPT, you can't say Google, you can't say Slack. So what are your favorite apps or software?
Well, I just downloaded Sora, but I haven't even tried it yet. This is the new one from ChatGPT, but it's
Sora. Okay.
Sora. It is AI generated video content. It's kind of like a TikTok clone, but just for AI generated video content. So I'm excited to check that one out, but I haven't technically tried it, so that doesn't really count.
Well, just real quick, before you get to the next one, Laron Hirschkorn, I was watching a video that he put out, and it said Sora on it. I didn't know what Sora was, by the way. This was the other day. And it's him taking off his hat, and he's completely like bald. Okay, more bald than me, if that's possible. And he had like long hair as if he was like in an 80s rock and metal band. And he was saying, here's where they put the staples, and he had this long hair like flowing out, and it looked real, right? And it said Sora. I'm like, obviously he didn't get a hair transplant or something like that. Yeah. So this has got to be created. So
it's mind
cool.
blowing. Yeah. It's mind blowing what they're creating. It looks incredibly lifelike. So they just came out with Sora 2, which is this much more capable model to create AI powered video, and it's going to radically transform Hollywood. I mean, it's going to make it basically put the ability to create television quality content, movie quality content in the hands of anyone without having to have multi-million-dollar budgets. And so it's going to just have a massive impact.
It's kind of really scary too, because like if someone has a hair growth pill and use that, I mean, you can use it for evil too, right? Like look at this hair growth pill, right?
Well, I think that's a big question. We're going to have to figure out how do we do that? How do we deal with this type of stuff? It's going to be difficult to decipher between AI powered content. Yo. What's up, Chris? How are you?
So Chris, I'm just finishing up with John. We're here with Chris Dreyer is next with rankings. As you can see, it's a cool hat. No, I love it. I'm just going to have people flowing in here. John was sharing his favorite apps and software. We're going to get to Chris in like 1 second. John was saying Sora. I don't know if Chris, you've explored that one yet. But John, what were the other ones?
It's brand new, like just came out. I feel like I need some branding here. Chris is good at representing the brand. So this is a smaller one. So Sora, a much bigger app, but a smaller one is Whisper Flow, which is a voice recognition software, much better than what you have in your iPhone. It's actually kind of AI powered, and it can understand if you make a mistake and you go over it and you restate it, or if you list things in order, it will put it into bullets. It's really amazing. And it's capable of working with much longer portions of audio recognition and translating it into words. And you can actually dictate twice as fast as you can type. And I'm a really fast typist. So that's been a really cool one that I've been using a lot for the last couple of months.
Love it. That's come up several times. John, as I always tell people, you're welcome to stay on or hop off, whatever it is. Chris Dreyer.
I'll listen to see if Chris has got better answers than
exactly. This is great people, great resources. We're here with Chris Dreyer, rankings. Chris, just start people off with what you do besides throw amazing conferences. Okay. What you do and your website. You're on mute, though.
Muted, Chris.
Rookie move there. So first, thanks for having me. I own Rankings.io. We help personal injury law firms with their marketing. We work with around 230, 240 plus law firms currently. Been doing it, slinging SEO for a couple decades now. And that's what we do.
Awesome. And also you want to give a shout to the website for your conference.
Yeah, so pimcon.org. We have our conference. It's actually coming up October 5th through 8th. And we have Nikki Glazer has entertainment night one. We've got Ross Salino as keynote day one, formerly Salino and Barnes. Amazing story. And then keynote day two is James Helm, Top Dog Law, who is just gunslinger, amazing advertiser in the PI space.
Yeah, and if you're listening to this, whenever you're listening to this, you'll probably check out the next one. He probably has someone cool on there.
That's
the last
amazing.
one
And-
at David
and Chris,
Spade.
Chris,
David Spade.
I'm noticing on the website it says it started as the Personal Injury Mastermind podcast. Was that the podcast we started together with you and became a whole
It is.
conference? Wow, amazing!
It is. You guys,
You'll have to
help me
tell
launch.
Nikki we said hello.
Yeah, our friend Jason Swink gave me the push, and I signed up with you guys to start the pod, and
Wow, look at you
it's
now.
just kept going. Yeah,
Amazing. Good
David
work.
Spade was last year, and then the keynote last year.
Phelps. Yeah, Michael Phelps.
Michael Phelps. Yeah,
Wow.
awesome. So we'll start with favorite books.
Favorite books? What category? Business books?
Business, sure. And then obviously give a shout to your book, of course. We'll give a plug, tell people your book, and then we could go into your other favorite books.
I'm going to answer this a little bit differently because I think people have read The Good to Greats, The Rich Dad Poor Dad, and those types of books. I really love Greg Alexander's book, The Boutique. I think it's one of the best professional services book. I've read that numerous times. I love listening to Greg on podcasts. He's so energetic, no filter.
When you said that, I had you on my podcast, and you said that after I got off, I bought the book on Audible, listened to it, and then had him on the podcast. But you're right; it's a fantastic book.
So good. Yeah. I listen to a book called Amp It Up quite often. It just allows me to think bigger. There's also The Science of Scaling Up. It's a new one that I like. The big mindset books. I think when I started off in business early on, it was everything's tactical. You don't know how to do the thing. And later in the game, you've got these amazing leaders, you got these executives. It's more about the strategy and the direction, the big decisions that you have to make. And so I like those that really help me think differently. I'm really into a lot of biographies right now too.
Any favorite biographies?
I'm trying not to sound cliche, but Titan from Rockefeller and Elon's, Walter Isaacson. But
I feel like
really
Walter Isaacson's books in general, if you just look up Walter Isaacson on Audible or Amazon, he's got a bunch of awesome biographies there.
Yeah, and I think most of I find myself going into these deep research modes, right? Where I'll go look to Alex Karp, right? And I'll go listen to everything that he's talking about from Palantir and all the interviews, and then I'll listen to Peter Thiel's wacky interviews, and he's a little on the, some of the stuff that he's been saying, but I go really deep on these individuals we hear from, and not just their mainstream books, they're 0 to 1. I'll go deeper on researing them.
That's a good point.
Peter Thiel's stuff about the Antichrist he's been focusing on lately is a little out there.
I don't know if you saw the Joe Rogan clip.
It's a little bizarre.
It's I'm really into surveillance and data, and my other hobby is the Antichrist. It's not bass fishing, come on.
Everyone's got to have a hobby. Well, that takes us to podcasts, right? Which is cool. I like your perspective. Okay, I'll get their book, but then I want to see them in a little different perspective on these podcasts. I can't remember. I saw somewhere where Walter Isaacson was featured on a podcast. Was it? I don't remember if it was Jordan Harbinger's podcast, possibly, or someone else's. I don't know. What are your favorite podcasts? And obviously, you can give a shout to yours.
Well, Personal Injury Mastermind. I do have great guests. I'm really excited. I've had these unicorn lists, this Dream 100 that you guys have taught me, and I've had some people on there, and I just spoke to Morris Bart, one of the founding television advertisers, one of the biggest in Louisiana. I just had him on the show, and that's going to be coming up in a couple months, and that conversation was amazing. Such like a celebrity in our space, right? My favorite podcast, My First Million podcast. I think that Sam and Sean have an amazing cadence. They're fun. They go back and forth, a different style. There's a lot of energy. I love the Founders podcast. these different businesses, whether it's, Ferraro and Ferraro and the Nutella story, or the guy that has the sushi business in the subway. And I think a lot of these are inspiring in different ways. And also too, it's like you get in these different points with your company where you have to make decisions like, am I going to continue to specialize, or am I going to expand my TAM? And it's like, oh, well, here's Richard Branson that is in like every category, every niche. And then here's this other individual that's had stayed super focused, like, and people that made big pivots like Michael Dell from computers to IT. And I think it just helps me relate to the decisions that they made, and what can work for one individual may not work for another, and just gives you options.
So it sounds like it's not just podcasts, but you look at certain guests and you may listen to them across different podcasts as well.
That's where I'm at, is like I said, I'll get an Alex Karp, and I'm like, okay, let me go listen to 10 interviews by Alex Karp. Let me, in my space, John Morgan, right, of Morgan and Morgan. So I'll just type in John Morgan and see if he's had a recent podcast, and sure enough, there'll be one, and he'll tell some similar stories. And I really dislike when people get in these loops of, you hear the same story over and over. But like, if the interviewer is good, they'll pry out a piece that really is interesting, and you just get a deeper understanding of who they are and how they grew their business, and it's more meaningful as maybe one interview or one book.
Totally. Apps and software. Some of your favorite apps and software.
Is it cliche to, Chat GPT?
I was going to say, I forgot to preface this that I did with John, which was, you can't say ChatGPT, Zoom, Slack, Google. It could be on
all
your
the
phone.
good ones.
I'll give you a couple that just popped into the dome. So Alex Hormozy just did his big book launch, and he had his upsells, and I went all the way up the ladder because I have a different perspective on this. Is like, I think connections are extremely valuable. So I got invited to this private school community, met some individuals there, but he has he basically uploaded all of his workbooks, his writings, his SOPs, and you could access his AI. And it's been really intriguing because you'll pull out things that aren't public, and just to kind of get in his brain and how he thinks. So that's a tool I've been using. But other than that, I'm very similar. I mean, I've got on the rotation ChatGPT, Claude, Grok. Those are the big three that I use a lot. And
Any in your phone from a health perspective? It could be business or health.
Yeah.
And Larry, by the way, welcome, Larry Benet. We'll be right with you. You could hang on, and we're just getting Chris's favorite apps and software. We'll go to Larry next. Any on your phone, Chris?
Yeah, so I just bought the Whoop. So I've been really tracking my steps, my health, my sleep, and I don't know. It's just one of those things. Like, I knew I needed to start a podcast, and I just never did it. And it's like now one of the best components of my flywheel, and I just put it off. But like, now I got the Whoop. It's like, oh, why? It's like, what's the saying of what gets measured matters? And it's like, oh, you go home and it's like, oh, I had 3,000 steps for the day. Like, maybe I park, instead of taking the golf cart over to so-and-so, maybe I walk there. And just little things that can contribute to,
Yeah, I mean, I've had the Oura Ring for years, and it's like when you track it, it just makes me more aware of it. And when I'm aware of it, I do things differently if I wasn't aware of it. Right. Yeah. So I love that. So Chris, thank you. You're welcome to stay on and chat. I know you have stuff to do, but people can stay on or pop off whenever. So I'm going to go to Larry. Thanks, Chris. Larry, thanks for joining us. This is great people, great resources. We have Larry Benet and Larry. We're going to talk about books, podcasts, and software, but I'm going to start off with what you do and the website where people can check you out.
Let's see, what do I do? I'm the president of both of your guys' fan clubs, so that does take a little bit of my time.
Exactly.
Got to start with that.
That one letter you have to respond to.
Exactly. Just a global connector and deal maker. I'm in the process of launching a health and wellness company that will save companies a lot of money on their healthcare cost, and then launching a new invite-only business network for business moguls and investors and game-changing thought leaders like you guys. And
Um,
I don't know, Larry, probably just either LarryBenet.com, or my Instagram is a good place at Larry K Benet.
Yeah, Larry Benet is Larry and then benet.com. You could check it out. I remember you were telling me about Peter Guber a long time ago. I was actually listening to Tony Robbins on my headset while I was swimming this morning, and he talks about Peter Guber, and Tell to Win is one of my favorite books of all time. It was because you talked about Peter, and I had not heard
Yeah,
of Peter, and his book is one of my favorites of all time. What are some of your favorite
great.
books?
Um, well, you just mentioned Tony Robbins. So I would say Tony's Unleash the Power Within was definitely a book that I've leaned on and read, multiple times. I've always enjoyed Jack Canfield, who's just he was also part of saying, Tony was part of saying the success principles. A game-changing book for me. Um, at least, and I've stayed in touch with Keith Ferrazzi for years, but Never Eat Alone for me helped me get up my game, because I remember reading about it, and he was talking about dinner parties with all these power players and Clintons and this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, man, I got to up my game. So, but that was a impactful book. And Atomic Habits by James Clear is a book that I travel with, and that's a really good one.
Yeah, that is a great one. I think John was telling me how many reviews it has on Amazon. It's got just a ridiculous amount, not just people buying it, but actually people leaving a review. And that gets us to podcasts. Some of your favorite podcasts out there that you listen to, or maybe guests of podcasts that people should check out.
I would say the podcasts that I listen to the most are probably the All In podcast. I think those guys are absolutely fascinating with their views on business, investing, politics. Um, I really enjoy the Diary of a CEO. That happens to be a good one. And then for me, the ones I probably listen to the most to Gary V on all things social media, consumer trends, entrepreneurship. And I find Dan Martell very helpful, as well as insightful on building media as well as entrepreneurship. And then I'm a real big fan of Ed Milet. Really enjoy
Are
him.
there any specific within those podcasts, any specific guests you recommend, some of your favorites, whether it's Ed or Dan's podcast or Gary V or whoever?
Well, I remember Jesse Itzler and Ed Milet did a podcast together. I assume that was on Ed's podcast. I mean, Jesse is one of my favorite humans. And they both talk about time in a very unique way. I know for me, uh, I think there's been 22 people that have since passed that were part of my saying network.
Talk about
And
the Saying Network for a second for people who don't know.
it was just it was a group that I had for 10 years. It was an invite-only business group. So everyone from Tony Robbins to Peter Guber, the owner of the Golden State Warriors, to Russell Brunson, to the guy that runs the Grammys, and other interesting people that you would know and recognize. I brought them together annually. But Jesse was talking about time, and Ed talks about time. And I look at how life is very short and fragile, and so the way I look at time was a lot because of that one specific podcast that Jesse talks about, and Ed talks about as well.
So podcasts, so we'll get to apps and software. Some of your favorites could be on your phone. It could be health, business. I'm kind of giving you the caveat of we
Yeah.
don't include Zoom, ChatGPT, Slack, Google. What are some of your other apps and
All right, so
software?
I'm gonna share some things that everyone uses but may not think about. Okay, and it's really impactful for me. So I use Facebook Memories every single day to reconnect with some of the world's most influential people that are in my network. I do that all the time. Um, I use photos as a way of going back. I sent a photo today of I hosted a group of 19 people, probably 15 or 17 years ago. I happened to just randomly stumble across that photo today, and I sent it to literally one of the most influential guys in Silicon Valley that was at the event. He actually flew from Tony Robbins, Fiji. But if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't necessarily seen it. Again, I know it's a normal app, but Instagram, I use the Instagram stories and it helps me connect with so many influential people because I can learn so much about them. There's a person that I've connected with. He's got 17.5 million followers. And the only reason is because I could see what goes on in his world and I could comment on his tequila company or any of the things that he's involved in. And if those things weren't, I mean, I know everyone knows about it, but it's something that I use on a daily basis. Obviously, GPT is like my best friend these days, and I'm using that for all sorts of things. I guess you guys are looking for other kind of,
No, I love that. I mean, there's certain specific ways that you use everyday tools because I will have to say, I've been, when I've gone to conferences, talked to entrepreneurs, Larry is one of the most giving people that I have met, and also just a genius connector. And what makes it a genius connector is because he's just a giving person. He's looking ways to help people and connect people and not necessarily, expect anything in return. And that's what makes a genius connector. I remember, Larry, we went to the NBA All-Star brunch, and
that was a lot of fun.
You were connecting people that you didn't know, to someone you did know, to someone you didn't know. You're like, hold on one second. You got in this elevator, and it was, I think the owner of the Sixers was in there,
Michael
and you were
the owner of Fanatics.
yeah, and you just have this way of connecting with people to deliver value. So,
I just want to share one thing about delivering value because you guys are extraordinary at it. On ChatGPT, just as something simple, if someone does not have our networks and they're just starting out, maybe they're listening to this. Alex Hormozy, less than a month ago, sold like several million books in a period of a couple days. So what I did is I went into ChatGPT. I also looked for different, things. I watched some of it and I said, hey, can you condense the best practices on what he did? And then I saw some other people's posts. I fed that through ChatGPT. And then what I've been doing is I've been sending that information to my friends that are authors or have a book out or they're, thinking about it or whatever. So you can use these tools just to really create tremendous amounts of value in a lot of different ways because you were talking about adding value to people.
yeah. So any other apps or software that's maybe on your phone or that you use in your computer?
So I use a greeting card system called SendOutCards. And what I do there is I met, for example, the other day, randomly, I was at the Fontainebleau in Vegas, and literally one of the top executives who oversees all the restaurants, all the lounges, he does everything between Miami and Vegas. The guy gave me almost an hour to an hour and a half of his time. First time I'd ever met the guy. It was just completely random. So I'm sending him a custom greeting card, my photo and his. And then, for example, the other day, I was just literally waiting for one of my friends who was speaking after Gary Vee, and we were going to have a cup of coffee. And I was asking this gentleman, I don't know who the guy is. We're having a conversation. I'm like, so I see you work for a bank in the Bronx. And anyway, I took a photo. I had a conversation, and then I sent him a customized, greeting card. Or I'll swipe information of someone that I know, or maybe I don't even know them, but they're doing all sorts of interesting stuff on their Facebook or Instagram. I'll take all those photos and I create these custom greeting cards, sometimes very oversized just to get their attention. So I use that a lot.
I love it. Larry, thanks so much. Everyone check out LarryBenet.com, BENET.com to learn more.
And what's your favorite app?
Me? Oh God. I like a couple. I look at the way I think about this question, Larry, is if the app went down, I would want to crawl up in a corner. Okay. And some of the things I use regularly is LastPass, which is like a password saver. Cause when I go in, I used to spend like hours trying to like look up, well, okay, go to this site. It just saves everything in there. I use Text Expander a lot, which is the best $3 I spend a month, which is,
What's it called?
You'll love this actually, Larry. It's Text Expander. And it's TEX, like text and then expander. It's a desktop app that lets you, basically you save these short codes in your database.
Okay.
And so when you type in the short code, it could share it across your email or LinkedIn or Facebook. So example, someone who makes like 5 to 20 introductions a day, like myself and you, I save intro Larry Benet, one word, and then I have your bio and your website and all your stuff there. So when I go to introduce you, and let's say I want to introduce John Corcoran, right? So
All you gotta do is touch it one
yeah, I
time.
put in intro Larry Benet. Hey, hey, you guys have to meet because of blah. Intro Larry Benet, intro John Corcoran. It spits out boom, boom, both your bios, all the stuff. And then I send off the email. It takes me 15 seconds, right? But it's like really well done. Look like I spent, which I did. The first time I send your intro, I have to create it, but I enter it into Text Expander. Our customer support uses it for like commonly asked questions and things like that. And it also allows you kind of fill in the blank things. So if I'm like, if I want to like customize it, you can do that within Text Expander as well. So those are two apps that I love. One of my favorites.
That's really, I'm going to go get that.
You'll like that. It's $3 a month, right? So I have for the first time I introduce anyone, I will then enter it into Text Expander and I put intro, first name, last name. So I just know that's the nomenclature I use for the intro.
John, what about you?
John popped off.
Oh,
but he shared, I can tell you what he shared. He shared some newer ones like Sora, which is that new kind of AI video app thing, which I haven't played around with, but maybe now I will. And what was the other one? Obviously like the Claudes and ChatGPTs and those kind of things as well. So everyone has some cool ones on here.
Hey, one last thing before we go. What are you using? And by the way, I'm going to be hosting a call of Zoom where I'll have 5 or 10 of the most connected entrepreneurs in the world on a call. Keith Ferrazzi is going to lead it. I'll have a couple other amazing people. What are you using to stay in touch to manage the large network that you have from either a CRM or other things? So for example, I've never heard of this text thing. I'm going to go get that. That's very helpful.
Yeah, that's a good question. And people ask me that a lot, actually. And I'm going to let one second while we get to this, I'm going to let Ed in here. Ed's going to come in. Ed, are you there?
Yeah, brother. What's up? What's up?
We're here with Larry Benet. We're just chatting about books, podcasts, and apps and software. I'm going to get to you in 1 second. But
no problem. Hi, Larry.
For podcasts, Ed, Larry, I don't know if you guys know each other, but Larry mentioned one of his favorite episodes of all time was Ed Milet and Jesse Itzler about time. And Ed actually wrote the book Time Collapsing, one of my favorite books. And Ed actually had Jesse on his podcast, which was a great episode. So it all comes full circle in there. And Larry was just asking how I keep track of relationships and stay in touch with them. Because Larry is one of the most generous connectors, givers I know. And Larry, to answer your question on that, it's kind of similar to your Facebook memory stuff. Like it's something that we all have that we use. I literally just go into my cell phone every day for 10 minutes and I scroll through to maybe who I messaged 6 or 8 months ago. It's been a while, so I'm close enough with them, but maybe I haven't communicated with them. So 10 minutes a day, I go through and oh my God, like what happened to, like I haven't talked to Larry in like 6 months and I'll message you or send you a voice text, right? So some of it's just as simple as looking at my phone, okay? And having a process for that. The second is, from keeping track of our relationships, I've used Pipedrive in the past. Now we use ActiveCampaign to keep track of things. And we have, a referral and partnerships, pipeline. And the pipeline is really just all the ways we can give to our relationships, right? So it could be, have I featured on my podcast? Have I shared about them on so when we move people across those columns, it's just, have I shared on social media something about their company? Have I sent them a gift? Have I featured them in my newsletter? So all of this, the ways that I can give to people. And we have a meeting, with our team once a week to go through, it's in ActiveCampaign, to go through it. And let's say I message you, Larry, today, we reassign that task to reach out whenever. It could be, listen, I want to make sure I may reconnect with them sooner. We assign a follow-up task in, let's say, 6 months. So I go, if I don't talk to Larry, at least I'm going to get on that call once a week. And I know that in 6 months from now, it will come up for me to reach out again. So that's kind of what we do on that end, not to leave it to chance.
Hey, one last thing before you go and get on to Ed. What are you using for recording of, I mean, we're on a Zoom right now. I get an inbound call. It's someone influential. I want to record it, but the call's already started. What are you using for those kind of things?
I mean, like I said, like usually, like I just texted Ed. I'm like, Ed, you're one of my favorite people. I want to hear your resources and everything like that. Hop on my Zoom. And so I use a Pretty Link. Pretty Link is like a WordPress plugin that allows you to take your Zoom link, right? Because it's all a string of numbers. And just so I go, hey, Larry, go into rise25.com/Jeremy Zoom or whatever, and it will automatically redirect to my Zoom. So I could be on the phone with someone and just text them my Zoom link, and they just pop in on their phone. They can just click straight from their phone and go right into Zoom. I'm sure there's things like I have people make fun of me because I have a Samsung, not an iPhone, but I'm sure there's apps on the phone that will record calls that I'm not privy to. I just like the setup of Zoom, but I may be the wrong person to ask.
Gotcha.
You know, so.
Well,
but
I'll let you guys.
Larry, you could again stay on if you want, and hear what Ed has to say. Because we're going to get to Ed, and Thad's popping in here, but we're going to get to, and I wanted Thad to come when Ed was going to come in. So Larry, feel free to stay if you'd like. Ed, thanks for joining in the car. This is great people, great resources. Thad, I'll let you talk in a second because I know you have something to say. But we're going to go over books, podcasts, apps, and software. But we're going to start with your company, what you do, and your website. So
can you hear me now, Jeremy?
Yeah, you're coming in.
Because I would say my best website right now is offerwingman.com, and that begins to lean towards where most of my focus is nowadays, either as a strategic partner helping already successful business owners like regenerative medicine or high ticket sales sell more as their wingman. That's number one. Whether it be at live events or like today we did a Zoom webinar with Dr. Scott Gray, our main man. And then last week I was in Austin helping somebody sell their high ticket coaching and mastermind from stage. And then it also lends perfectly and nicely to kind of a service I developed on accident, which is our $1 million interview method, which goes great for experts, but really is a no-brainer for like PI attorneys and dentists, because that's where I came from. And we use that we're using that as a main sales mechanism instead of necessarily the VSL, which is what everybody's aware of, or the webinar. The fastest way to get a converting asset while also building authority assets and trust ecosystem, because then you can cut that up, run $1 a day ads on the back end, which I could go into that more in depth. I think I assume everybody knows what all that is anyway, but you instantly become the ecosystem and you take all the biggest objections that people have, and that's what you run as your retargeting ads. And that's where I'm spending most of my time, man. I mean, it's really done really, really well. And it's helping people. What we're finding, here's a quick tip for everybody with the stem cells, because in Go High Level, you can see all the touch points that they're making with your attribution touch points. And it's just fact. It's very rare that somebody like opts in, watches one thing and buys tomorrow. But we're seeing like the average person takes about 18 days to buy. And sometimes it's 1 day, sometimes that's 75 days. But without question, it is consumption of content that is leading the charge at accelerating the person to go from a cold lead to a buyer. And you're seeing that, not to keep talking too far, but maybe it is just right. It's like the magic trick in front of everybody right now. Alex Hormozy just did a 9-hour launch webinar on YouTube. Iman Gadzhi, which if you don't know who he is, he's probably one of the biggest names in just teaching people how to sell digital products, just did like 13 hours over 4 days. He brought in probably the world's best wingman, Jason Fladland, to give a shout out to Jason, to be his sidekick and pitch man. And, you know, the pros are bringing in pros. And so while I felt like I was selling people into why they need this a few years ago, the pros get it, man. They bring in, if I can get a 1% increase or 3% increase in conversion rate, and I'm spending, like, did you know Alex Hormozy was spending $500,000 a day? He brought Fladland in as his consultant. Why is one of the world's best in the business bringing in because if you're going to spend money nowadays when people don't trust anybody, you want to know, setting up and doing this, say, a third-party adaptation. Kind of rambling, just I'm in an idea if you're going to be off 2 minutes. So,
No, you're good. No, I can listen. I think
focus
Thad and Larry would agree. We could listen to you all day here. It's too bad you're on your phone. You cut out for a second there, but we heard most of what you said. Are you still there, Ed? I think he may have cut out for a second. Oh, can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm here, brother. Go to Dad, and I'll be at my house. All right.
Yeah, come back in when you come back in, because I want to. Yeah, I want to hear your books and your podcast and software, and he'll come back in. But Thad, good to see you. You're looking trim, my man. Like you must be working out and eating right.
Yeah.
So we'll get back to Ed in a second. I know you're laughing and smiling, but you know, this is great people, great resources. Thad Winston, and we'll get to Ed in a second. But tell people what you do and your website to start.
Okay. So the website is True Scale Marketing. I call myself pretty much a business connector from the perspective of very similar to you, Jeremy. Like, you know, our Rolodexes, I'm dating myself, so I still like to use the word Rolodex, right? So our Rolodexes are where the net worth is in your network. So that's where I find myself oftentimes connecting folks using that good old fashioned Henry Kissinger principle, putting people together. And then as far as what I do, like full time is I would fall into the consultative capacity in terms of working with small to medium sized businesses, helping them to grow their businesses. I do want to just step back to what Ed was saying there just for a quick second. And that is this, you know, Ed is one of the, you know, he can't say this, but I can. Ed is one of the premier business-minded growth specialists that's out there in the industry. What he does cross-pollinates across whatever industry that you're doing. So, you know, like when he's saying, you know, like Hormozy brought in, you know, Fladland, anybody who's fortunate enough to be able to, first of all, get Ed's attention, second of all, to get him to join in with it, they will be able to look at their bank account and recognize the difference from the day before they met Ed O'Keefe until after the time they met Ed O'Keefe. And that's just the facts. I mean, that's just historically, that's the facts. I met Ed when he was 24 years old, and Ed's not 24 anymore. Ed, how young are you now? Oh, he dropped off on that one real quick. Do you see that? But he's not 24 anymore. But I've known him that long, and from that entire time, he's the same gentleman, constantly adding value into people's lives, very much like you, Jeremy. But I had to say that just real quick.
You know, I feel like this is a wingman to the wingman episode, you know. But no, I've been reading Ed's copy, getting emails from him for decades.
Yeah.
And I was like, this guy is a genius.
He really is.
Copywriter, marketing mind. When you talk about compelling offers, just, you know, I've obviously bought his books and I've gone to his events and everything like that because he always adds value.
He's authentic and genuine. You know, has an amazing family, and the Ed that you see out here is the same Ed that's at home. He's just authentic and genuine.
So your favorite books, or where can people check you out? You're on social or website. Where can people learn more?
I do need to get more of a social presence, and I'm jumping on board. So I'll do that. But it's just Thad Winston, THAD Winston. If you look on Facebook, I think there's a caricature of me as a true marketing genius, like on Facebook and in Instagram. In terms of books for me, dude, I'm an eclectic book reader. Like I looked at my audio book, Audible, account before I jumped on here. I've got 1,094 books, and man, it's just like across the board. But I would say this. I would say first and foremost, I'm a spiritual man. I don't categorize myself as religious, but I'm a spiritual man. So I would say Bible first. But books that fall into the category of Daniel Kahneman, like Thinking Fast and Slow, behavioral economics, those type of things, those are just like it just waters my soul. Books like Influence by Robert Cialdini. A number of years back, I was fortunate enough to be able to speak from the same stage with Robert Cialdini back in the day. Failing Forward by John Maxwell, an insanely amazing book. Just anything by John Maxwell is good. And I would round it out with a unique one, but it kind of falls into like an Ed O'Keefe genre because it's Matthew McConaughey, Green Lights. Because that book, man, I could not put that book down. He is so infectious as he reads that, but you're learning all these things about him and things about life. It's just a fantastic book. But those are the books that came to mind for me when you said top books.
Okay. And I'll just ping, since Ed's back, I'll ping back to Ed. Ed, you missed, you had Thad as your wingman to your wingman.
Yeah, I kind of feel like this is a setup, guys. This is way too nice.
I didn't know you were going to be on here. I had no idea you were going to be on here.
No, when I saw both of them, I guarantee you they're going to be on at the same time at some point. But
I love it.
So let's get to your.
One of my favorite people in the world.
Yeah,
one of the most selfless people in the world. So unbelievable.
Talk about your favorite books, Ed. Outside of time collapsing, of course, but
yeah, no. I mean, right now it's let's see here right now. I'm actually reading the Bible as much as I've ever had. So thank you, Thad, for throwing that in there. Here's a book I would challenge everybody to read, is especially like with what recent events with the Charlie Kirk assassination and just people with the amount of silliness people are calling him every word in the book. Go out and read Thomas Sowell. If you want to have your belief systems challenged from one of the greatest thinkers in our last 100 years, he's one of the wisest guys, and whether you agree with him or not is not relevant. Is that so many people don't have opinions, or have opinions without anything to stand that on. And there's no, do you guys know Thomas Sowell's story at all?
How do you spell his last name, Ed?
Sowell. Okay. So I'm going to take, Jeremy, I'm throwing your podcast sideways story, man.
Let's do it.
So he's a black man, 1970s, self-proclaimed socialist and Marxist, going to university, I think it's UIC, and he's in getting his master's or doctorate in economics. Okay. And his professor was a famous economist. I want to say Martin something, but it's not coming to me right now. And he said to him, okay, cool. Take all your beliefs about socialism and Marxism and why you think this is great, and make it your MBA or dissertation as to prove them all using economic theories. And what happened was the exact opposite of what every single theory that he thought about, like what life should be, was disproven. Yes, that's Thomas Sowell. And so a lot of like Charlie Kirk's theories, or a lot of the stuff that Charlie Kirk's, you could tell he was a big student of Thomas Sowell. And he became one of our most well thought leaders at explaining economics and why it's actually harming. And me being from the south side of Chicago, why it actually harms all the inner city neighborhoods, and why, and I can go down this rabbit hole if you want, but we don't need to do that for now. But my point is that stuff's been very relevant lately. And then Jason Flavlin's stuff, I'm just spending a lot of time studying his stuff because really what I realized, I bought all Jason's stuff. I don't know if it's Webinars That Sells or Webinars One-to-Many Selling.
Yeah, he's got a one-to-many book,
Yeah.
which I think I have over here somewhere.
You probably have it and you haven't even read it.
I listened to the Audible.
Yeah.
I did. I listened to the Audible. Yeah.
So what's great about Jason though, and I just want to encourage people, like if you think you're not great at selling, there's only 3 options, right? Number 1, you suck at selling. And that's okay if you're willing to have the budget to go hire a pro like me or Jason who does the pitch for you. I'll give you a quick funny story on this, right? Make sure I come back to number 2 because you have 2 options. It is a learnable skill. There's nothing superhuman about it. Most of it's internal belief systems. Actually, let me give you that part first. You can literally learn any language and rewrite your own belief systems by just speaking his words into existence. He has all his scripts. Dan Kennedy's, me and Scott Gray were talking about his best sales pitch came from Dan Kennedy, and Scott just learned it. Scott's not a big sales guy, but he's a good closer.
Yeah, he is.
Close. So, you think about it. So, that's been a big thing. But there's a guy actually, Jeremy, there's a guy you introduced me to who runs a multi-8-figure company in the attorney space. And I don't want to give away this conversation. I respect him to death. I love his podcast. And then he posts his webinars on his YouTube channel. And so and it was awful. It was awful. It was so bad. And it wasn't him. It was like he took his VP of marketing and XYZ, whatever the niche thing was. And that's who did his webinar. So the first 3.5 minutes was like this guy giving me every reason to turn the thing off. And then the next 15 minutes was the most boring ass stuff I've ever listened to. And I was like, dude, is this supposed to sell me? I was like, you could just have me do it. What I said to him, I sent him the link. I'm like, hey, if this is supposed to sell, and I know his price points and I know his industry, lots of money in the industry. I was like, I'll just show a picture. I don't know if I said this to him, but here's what I would say. I'll just show a picture of those people so they'll be edified. And then I'll do the amazing pitch. Because what they're talking about is super, it's AI, it's sexy, it's going to make these people a lot of money. Yet these guys went right into why it works and how it works and all the nerd stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So those are the books I'm reading. So I'm going to stop talking. I've spoken too much.
No, this is great. And I'm going to go back to Thad for 1 second. And you think of your favorite podcast, Ed. Thad, favorite podcast?
Of course, I have to say Inspired Insiders. Who would I be if I didn't at least throw that one out there? But in addition to that, I'm a consistent listener of the Diary of a CEO, Stephen Bartlett. I find it fascinating. It's a really good one. And then this one you've never heard of because it's brand new, but it's also because I'm a Buckeye. I'm an Ohio State Buckeye fan, and it's a podcast called Down to Downs. It's Caleb Down and Josh Downs. And they're talking about football and talking about life and talking about a bunch of things. So it's really, really a good one. Down to Downs.
Ed, what about you? Favorite podcast? Or it could be favorite episode. As Larry mentioned, cool. Jesse Itzler with Ed Milet. So he'll have to listen to your episode with Jesse
Itzler. Can you hear me
nice,
or did I lose it already?
No, we can hear you.
We got you.
Oh, okay, cool. Without question, Sean Ryan show. Without question, Sean Ryan. Without question, Inspired Insider. After that, though, Sean Ryan show.
I'll give you guys a 20 after. Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Jerry, I want to plug Inspired Insider too, so I apologize.
Oh, thank you. I'll give you the 20. Thank you.
Hey,
Sean Ryan.
What is why? You know why? Sean's on a search to kind of figure out answers. I'm really in a place in my own life where I'm trying to figure out, do I do more of a Sean Ryan show one, instead of just doing business all the time? Because, but I really challenge everybody, go listen to Sean Ryan show and then listen to the Victor Marx interview. Victor Marx. high risk missionary, severely abused as a child. It's like a 4.5 hour, but it's not like you won't be sad. Like people will be like, oh, I don't want to. No. This guy's one of the baddest dudes on the planet. And he talks about his whole experience about being raised. He talks about spiritual warfare.
Is this him?
I can't see. Let me see.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's Sean Ryan's show, but that's not Victor Marks.
Yeah. I got
But
you.
type in Victor Marks too. They do like 2 or 3 episodes. Victor and his wife go into the most dangerous places in the world to rescue women and children.
Oh, wow.
And his story, I don't want to steal any stories there, but then I think it's really important for men, especially men, to listen to stories of like somebody like Victor on so many levels. But I'm going to leave it there for teasing purposes because I have no idea what our timeline is here, and I don't know what's going on.
There's no timeline. You just, I'm here as long as people are coming in. So
it's amazing.
Yeah. So if there's any other podcasts, go ahead, and if not, that we'll go to apps and software, favorite apps and software. But add any other podcasts of your favorites, Sean Ryan.
PBD podcast. Yeah, the PBD podcast, Valuetainment. I like those guys. I like how they argue and entertain, or they're, it's where I get a lot of my news, honestly. And then, but they're business guys at the same time. So I kind of like that mix of like, they could talk about every topic.
He's had some real cool guests, Patrick Bet-David, some really amazing guests on his show.
He purposely brings on people that had completely different perspectives than him that he doesn't get along with. And I think it's amazing,
Yep. Thad, favorite app software. This could be app on your phone, computer, and I'll just throw out, as I've been telling people, Zoom, ChatGPT, Google, Slack. Those are all the usual suspects, but any others that are favorite for you?
I will hit that, but I want to step back for a real quick second because Ed had mentioned Charlie Kirk. I personally had never even heard his name, unfortunately, before, this, horrible incident, atrocity occurred. But I have a friend that is very, very well off. And he called me and he told me that he was literally the last human being to have lunch with Charlie Kirk. And he said that this guy is misunderstood with a lot of this stuff that's out there. So I just wanted to say that. I'm not going to go any deeper than that, but that's something I did want to share. In terms of softwares, I could go with, the GPTs, Perplexity, and, all those things. I'm not going to do those. I'm going to go with a good old fashioned down to earth Loom. Me and Loom, we would not be able to get along without each other. It's my saving grace in communicating and being able to get messages across. So there's that one. And then I'm going to bring up one that you're not familiar with yet, but you will be. I'm currently working with a friend of mine, and he has built out an incredible business called Soom, SOOM.AI. And it's an AI infrastructure business. Him and his wife are literally geniuses, and I'm not using that word lightly. This guy got a degree in neuroscience from Duke in 3 years. Took some classes at MIT to be able to learn his AI, and he's an insanely bright individual. On top of that, he's got incredible business chops. At one point in time, just a few years back, he was the world's 3rd largest advertiser on YouTube. So he's got incredible business chops. And now what he's done is he's got an infrastructure, which if I can communicate it clearly, the light bulb will go off on everybody who's listening, is right now, everybody who's out there inputting their ideas and going back and forth on ChatGPT and all these other things, you're giving your intellectual property to ChatGPT. It's bubbling up that knowledge. It's getting smarter and smarter and smarter. And all your competitors are getting on there and being able to take out your IP ideas directly from ChatGPT. Well, this gentleman's business would allow you to capture all the intellectual property of your business in the infrastructure, and it becomes now an asset within your business, increasing the multiples of your business. So it's an amazing business. Soom, SOOM.AI. Chris Walker and Taryn Walker. great folks.
Awesome. Yeah. And Ed, we'll go to you if you're on. It reminds me I had Quinn Kramer on the podcast, who's a co-founder of Daily, which is like a leading real-time video platform that provides APIs for integrating audio, video, AI into apps. So it's like kind of the Twilio of texting, except for like for voice and video. And his company kind of powers some of the clients are like AWS, Google,
Yes.
like those type of people. And
Yeah.
it reminds me a lot of him. Just comes off kind of just really nonchalant, modest, but he's a genius when it
Ridiculous.
comes
Yes.
down to it.
Yeah. This is both of them. Him and his wife are
Yeah.
both in that category of genius.
I think we lost Ed. So I don't know if you have any other apps or software on your phone. It could be for health or business.
I mean, I use Fitbit, but that's nothing new. I mean,
you're looking fit. What
I
are you
appreciate
doing?
it.
What are you doing for your health lately?
Honestly, I've been walking. I've been getting between, 12 to 15,000 steps. I've been eating smarter. Had a few health challenges that really just, got my attention and just said, hey, buddy, you're not getting any younger. You got to get some things lined up. So yeah, I've done that. And yeah, I'm down probably about 57 pounds. And feeling
That's
pretty
a
good.
small human being right there. Yeah,
Yes.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
but yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm spending a little bit of time in the gym too. So
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing. I'll wait for Ed for a bit, and I thank you both. But this is Great People, Great Resources. I'm here with Mark Hiddleson. Okay. Thad already answered. Larry Benet already answered. We're going to talk about your favorite books, podcasts, apps, and software. Mark, like both of you, is actually, again, just true giver, connector, amazing human being. Actually just came out with a book, which we'll talk about. But Mark, just start off with what you do and your website so people know, and then we'll get to the questions.
Okay, so we help warehouses get organized with racking, shelving, conveyor systems, and really any kind of tech to help warehouses optimize their operations. Our website is specialracks.com. And yeah,
So when you're talking about, Mark, you have these big wine companies or huge companies, and they need to build out all of the shelving for their infrastructure so they can pick and pack, right?
Yeah, totally. Or cold storage we just did a project in Texas. It was 35,000 pallet positions of frozen, it's turkeys, whatever you could think of, frozen food. So any kind of business you can think of, you have a warehouse, you see these big warehouses, we build the inside of them.
Love it. What a good business at this point. I love the non-sexy businesses that just make everything work. And that's really what it is, right?
Yeah.
And give a shout for your book also.
Yeah, so I just published a book called The Tao of Pizza. It was kind of a mix between my personal philosophy and business life. So, Jeremy, when you said favorite book, since I just published it 2 months ago, I wanted to say my book is now that it's published.
You have to.
But I did have some answers. But yeah, it's a mind, body, spirit, emotion approach to living, and basically, find deep peace, unshakable clarity, and true prosperity. So, thank you.
I love it.
Where's your favorite pizza place?
So it's called the Tao of Pizza, and the pizza is more of a metaphor of the Tao is kind of a wholeness word of like everything's connected to everything, and then the pizza is kind of how we have to slice. We slice our lives up into different slices. Being at home, husband, father, and community member, business owner. So the pizza is a metaphor, but there's a place called Fazerati's in town. I will give you a good. I live in Napa, and Fazerati's is my favorite kind of pizza because they always have the games on, so you can go there.
All right.
Yeah.
Love it. Other favorite books, Mark?
So when I looked at this, I've got a bunch of favorites like Sex, Ecology, and Spirituality by Ken Wilber. That's the biggest book I've ever read. But really my favorite book, I'd have to say, is East of Eden. I read it in high school, but I just read it again recently. I actually had to buy it because I went to grab it and it fell off the shelf and it hit the ground and kind of got damaged. And I saw this other lady in line in the checker, saw her book had a little nick on it. And I was going to put that book back. And then I was like, man, if I've ruined this book, I've got to buy it. And it's huge. But I grew up in California, and it's about this region. but it's a book that's a novel, but it also, there's so many layers of it. It's a philosophical way of like how the economy in California developed, how wealth was created, legacies and stories and everything. So it's my current favorite right now. So
Cool. Favorite podcasts? Some of your favorite
Inspired
podcasts.
Insider.
Oh, yeah, another 20 out. And they're here with Jason Ciment. Jason, we'll get to you in a second. People are just coming in and out. So Jason, we'll get to you. Mark is just going through books, podcasts, and apps. We're on podcasts. So outside of Inspired Insider, obviously mention your show too, Mark.
The Dow Pizza Podcast. So yeah, I catch that every month or whenever it comes out. Inspired Insider, and then John's Smart Business Revolution. And I don't really listen to the popular ones, but people will send me tidbits. And I went from a podcast doubter 5 years ago, then now I'm using them for all kinds of things in my business: personal development, entertainment, making business contextual, networking. So yeah.
It could be also a favorite episode that you've seen on another podcast. Maybe you don't listen to it regularly. I don't know if you've had a favorite guest on your podcast. Who's been a favorite?
Probably Steve Waller. I interviewed one of my longtime clients, and he actually turns out he was employee number 6 or 7 at DHL, opened up all of their international branches. So it's somebody I've known for 10 years, but during the interview, it was just a really neat story of how he moved from New Zealand to London and then the States. And quite a remarkable life as somebody that I get to visit with all the time.
That's awesome. Yeah. And we'll, and by the way, I just want to say hey to Nick, Loise, who's on here. Nick, we'll get to you in a second. So favorite books, favorite podcasts, and now apps and software. So Mark, what are some of your favorite app software? I'm going to throw out, you can't say Zoom, ChatGPT, Slack, the usual suspects, some of your favorites.
I thought I was on the evolving edge because I was going to say Slack. So I don't know. I'll have to pass.
Or maybe how you.
Calendly, I guess. I mean, you didn't say Calendly.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? Someone convinced me many years ago to use it, and I was a little resistant because I was like, I don't want someone booking on my calendar without me. That was the dumbest thing I've ever said. One of them. Okay. Because it has freed me up so much. And obviously I can control my availability through Calendly. And it's freed up myself, my assistant, and it reduces their load 80% so they can work on other more important things too. So I love Calendly.
So I have one. I'll turn myself in. I just about 2 months ago I started using the Bible app to read the Bible. My sister-in-law said, hey, because I was talking about philosophy in my book, and I really didn't want to write a spiritual growth book, but it turned out being the number one on Amazon for spiritual growth. So I was like, hey, maybe I'm into this. And she said, I think you'll love this because it's read the whole Bible in a year. And I thought it was really stupid. So I was like, I'm going to prove her wrong. I'm going to download this app. I'm going to start doing it. So I'm like, out of 60 days, I'm 52 out of 60 days. I'm really enjoying it. And I'm not like an app person. I'd rather open a book and read it. But this is just working to me. The headphones, it plugs it in. I've got that 20 minutes. And I've started looking forward to that as part of my morning routine. So that's one that wasn't on your list.
You know what? It's funny because both Thad and Ed O'Keefe both said one of the favorite books, the Bible was on their favorites.
Yeah.
So, and Jason likes the Old Testament. So
then you would like my new Substack. I just started a Substack 2 weeks ago, and I'm writing Old Testament stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. I just finished Leviticus this morning, so I'm like, woo!
You're 3 months off the cycle, but it's good.
Who knew this would evolve into this conversation? But that's what I love about it. And again, Mark, I know you're busy. If you have to hop off, but feel free to stay on and chat like all of us. But so Jason, we're going to talk about your favorite books, podcasts, app software, but tell people what you do and where they could check you out on your website.
I run Get Visible. It's a marketing agency. We've been doing it for about 20 years. My partner and I started it. He used to work for me, and then we started working at night together, like back in 2005, till we had enough clients, and he quit his day job, and then now we're up to 23 people, I think. COVID was very good for us because it got him to go remote and sell his house and move from Arizona to Minnesota to get some winter weather.
That sounds terrible. Are you serious? Usually
I
you go the
swear.
opposite way from
Well,
Minnesota to
the-
Arizona.
the-
Is he crazy? I think
The in-laws are still in Arizona, so it's all good.
even more reason to stay in Arizona. Oh, the in-laws in Arizona. I got
Yes,
you.
and he
Okay,
wanted
okay.
winter, he wanted snow, ice, all that stuff. So he's done, and now half
He
our
must
team,
really like his in-laws to move to Minnesota. Oh my God.
so half our team is in America, half is overseas. We're really front to back from we're introducing cold outreach now, but it's build a website and then just figure out how to get you clients any which way we can. We're
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood of digital marketing.
Get
Now that's an
Visible.
old reference if anybody knows that movie.
You can check out Get Visible, and I like the QR code on your Zoom. Can
How
people
do you
actually
do
click
that,
that?
by the way? That I just went to your thing from that, but how do you skim that? Is that part of
So
the
here, you need a thing called, there's plenty of apps for it, but that one is probably OBS Studio. Like you see, I have a funky Zoom frame. That's not a background. It's a system called OBS Studio, and you have a free version. It's very easy to learn how to use it. So I could control different things on the top of my navigation.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
And a happy new year to you and Jeremy, brother.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Thanks. And so that's a good app right there, right? But we'll start, Jason, with books.
Books. Well, I'd say that I read all the Bourne books, so that was one of the first things that got me into crazy reading was the thriller novels because Robert Ludlum was the king. I met him before he died, got him to sign a book for my dad. So his legacy is being continued through Eric von Lustbader, who took him over. And a bunch of guys have written in his name, so I like him. I would say one of the best trilogies was the one that Jennifer, I forget her name, she played the spy. It's the Russian and American spy. It'll hit me in a second. That I highly recommend that, mostly because it's a good story and every chapter has something about food. And I started an Instagram called Books and Food under my name, so I review books and I talk about foods in the books. So that trilogy's got it. What the hell is Jennifer, the cat girl, Catnip, whatever her name is, from the spy movie.
What about any business books? Favorite business books?
Besides the Old Testament, because it's all in there. I read so much, it's impossible. I'm trying to think what's the best. I couldn't even tell you. I wish I could. I said, you know what? I know the answer to that. The last one that I read.
Which is
No, it doesn't matter. Whatever I'm reading, the last one is the best.
That answer.
which is
Right.
what?
No, it doesn't matter. Whatever book I'm reading now, like I'm reading a book, How to Negotiate in 60 Seconds. Like whatever you're reading now is the best book because you forget 99% of it anyway. And so if you're constantly learning, then you're constantly getting better. So therefore, just keep learning. I can tell you The Go-Giver. I can tell you all those books. They're all the same. It's just who has a better story.
Yeah.
So,
I like The Go-Giver. That's a good one. Bob
It's
Burger's
fine,
on
but
the
I mean,
podcast.
you're an idiot if you weren't doing that already.
No, well, sometimes it's not in people's natural like thought process. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give you an example. I published a podcast episode, put it on LinkedIn, and the person who I had on liked it. And I messaged them and I said, why are you being so lazy? Like, you like it? This is about you. You should share it and comment on it and tag other people on it. And it's like, and by the way, I've been guilty of that as well. And I just didn't think of it. I was just like hitting like, but I should have shared it, commented on it, and tagged other people. So it's just that reminder.
Let's put it this way. We're all over 50 in this room. Okay. I think.
No, I'm not actually, but
You're not yet?
but thanks.
I can't tell in Zoom. It's all right.
I'm approaching.
I'm well past 50.
Okay. My point is,
Dad looks younger than me. So.
Mark's talking about learning Leviticus and other things. And my point is, we're all old enough to know that there's a lot more you don't know than you do know. So you have to constantly be learning. And I don't say I'm well read, I'm well forgotten. So that's it. So favorite book, I don't really have it.
So favorite podcast, and I'll before you answer, it could be a podcast you listen to. It could be like an episode with someone. I've had Jason, you had a great episode. You were on twice, and also you had one of my favorite comedians of all time. Elon Gold's on, and so Jason's friends with Elon Gold, and I was saying how I love this comedian. He's the best comedian ever, and Jason's like, I'm actually friends with him. I'm like, oh, okay, and they both came on. and we had a great conversation. That's definitely, the two of you on was one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah, well, that was a show for Elon to do all his impressions.
That was fantastic.
No
Yeah.
question. I'm not a podcast guy. I used to listen to Howard Stern religiously, but he changed too much in the last 5 years. On top of it, I find I can't actually listen and work. I have to be focused. So I don't drive anymore because my house is my office. I go to the post office, the postal box to get my mail, or the grocery store. I don't have time to listen to podcasts. So I make them.
So you should just listen to the one that we did with Elon Gold and Duncan Alney from Firebelly. Thanks for being here. I'll get to you in a minute.
Right.
He jumped off. I think everyone scared him here. So we'll go to apps. Before we go to apps and software, Jason, you must have apps and software. You just mentioned one.
I have one I'm going to tell you about because I made it. I made it. It's called Milo, Milo. Just go to Google, type in Milo Chrome Store. It's coming out now. It's a bookmark manager. And Jeremy, I'm going to talk to you about it privately to white label it, but basically it replaces the bookmark system in your Chrome browser. It's really cool because your bookmarks can be stored in your Google Drive. So any computer you're on will have your bookmarks in there, and you can look them up by category, tag, whatever you want. And eventually it'll cross Firefox and Edge also. I'm just trying to get registered.
What's the reason you created it? Like, what was the use case that was bothering you?
I do a lot of ChatGPT work, and if you know, I just did a webinar last week on custom GPTs. The problem with custom GPTs is they crowd up your left navigation if you keep them in the sidebar and all your conversations are below. So with Milo, I can save all my custom GPTs, and then I realized, oh crap, I could save anything. So now it's the bookmark manager.
I like it. I do use something like that, but it doesn't have the same functionality. Yours seems like better functionality.
Really good.
Than that. And it's because it's like, I just want to get rid of all the tabs and like save it for later, because I keep the tabs up. Yeah.
So one tab. That's great. I didn't build that in, but I will say, even because there's 5 people in the room and other people will be listening, I was at an AI conference 2 weeks ago, and I just had a brainstorm with somebody that I could white label Milo for anybody who distributes it to their audience, whatever followers, because I could stick a folder in there that can't be deleted. And that folder is the brand of whoever distributes it. And it's a kind of a hack on the Chrome store, because you can't white label anything in the Chrome store, but now you can.
Interesting.
Cool. Yeah. So if you know somebody who has a big audience, because every time you go to the bookmark, you open up the pop-up of your bookmarks, you see the screen, that white label ID will be in there. It's really good presence. And right now I'm not charging a penny.
Any other apps or software that you use?
Well, I live inside ChatGPT, and really today it's about custom GPTs. I have so many tailored custom GPTs, which you could do in Claude. You could do in not Perplexity as much, but
any tips for using those custom GPTs that we best practice that we should all be doing that maybe I'm not?
Yeah, just ask GPT what it missed in a response. It's the most important thing you could do. But yeah, I'm not talking about it's lying and hallucinating. It totally does that. You can ask about that. But separate from that is that it gives you an answer. You use this thing called 10x. Can you 10x your answer? Can you tell me what you missed? And you can take somebody else's information, feed it in and say, what did they miss? And then you can 10x anything that you get from anybody. You can stick it inside ChatGPT. If you text me, I have a 10x prompt that I wrote that will help you to improve anything you get.
I love it.
That's it.
I'd
love to stay, but I got to go actually.
Yeah, go ahead. Jump off.
All right.
Nick, thanks for being patient on that. And
you should send out a, what do you call it? An Excel with everybody who came in today.
I'm going to. I mean, this is all going to be on one episode. So
you'll on the show notes.
Well, definitely.
Checking out the show notes.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll be able to see everyone's answer. Thanks, Jason.
Okay, guys, thanks.
Nick, thanks for being patient. Duncan, we'll get you in a minute. I may piggyback or bounce off you in a second if you're listening, but this is great people, great resources, and Nick Loise is one of those great people. And we're going to talk about books, podcasts, software, apps, but just tell people what you do in your website so people can check it out.
Sure. So Nicholas, thanks for having me on. But that was worth the price of admission. Those last 3 guys. So I hope I could raise the bar. I don't know if I can.
Let's do it.
Jason's always awesome. Nicholas Loise, founder of Your Sales Recruiter and Sales Performance Team. Sales Performance Team is a fractional sales leadership company where we put sales leaders and managers into companies or do sales trainings for founder-led companies so that they get 10x their sales. And Your Sales Recruiter, I realized the sales recruiting process was broken. I realized so many people were hiring salespeople that just broke their hearts. So I wanted to fix it. So I created my own recruiting company that just focuses on salespeople and bringing you the best talent.
Love it. Your favorite books?
My favorite
You
books.
have a lot of books behind you.
I have a lot of
And
books
by the
behind
way,
me, right?
Nick, Dad was at Dad, were you at the first, I don't know, Dan Kennedy seminar? You were at the first, yes. So Nick,
I was at the very first. What did he used to call them? Like the big kahuna thing.
Super conference, the super conference,
Yeah,
or the
super
info
conference,
summit.
but it was in Cleveland, Ohio.
It was the Dan only events, right?
Yes.
So the Dan only
look,
events.
this is when he introduced everybody to Bill, because Bill was doing his BGS marketing.
Yeah,
and
BGS marketing, very
Ed
good.
O'Keefe
Yeah.
was on this side. Yannick Silver was on this side over here. And these little young puppies were, crushing it. But yeah, that was a long time ago in Cleveland, Ohio.
Different world.
so Nick,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you and Thad know each other, but talk about how
So
you were involved in that
I was the
world.
vice president of sales of GKC when Bill sold it to the private equity firm.
Oh, okay.
And then I was the president of GKC, then it became Magnetic Marketing. So I was there for 8 years, so spent a lot of time in Dan's events, in Dan's basement in Cleveland.
Yeah.
You're one of the few people that has ever been into his basement.
I've been in his basement many times. Yep. Had been at the racetrack, been at the casino steakhouse where he takes, if he likes you, to it after, which I've been in, I think 3 of his cars with him driving. One was a refurbished, like 1960 Jeep Cherokee that he spent $250,000 refurbishing. And I said, you get a good new one with all the whistles and bells. So yeah, I mean, Dan's a gentleman, was great. I was a member before, right? So I've been a fan. That down there is all of the Dan Kennedy books. Over here, where you guys can't see, are some of the binders, and then in the basement is another stack of all. I still have the binders and the DVDs and CDs. If the young kids that are listening to this have no idea what I just said about a binder, a CD, or a DD, I even have
that shrink wrap.
You want to show them what a CD?
So I'm going to show them. This is one of my favorite books, which is the original Magnetic Marketing.
I had that. That was that changed my life, actually.
Yes, I still have
it. Really
that.
did.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So it's one of my favorite books, I guess. I don't know if it's a book. I don't want to disrespect him by calling it a book, but so that's a extended background. Thank you for embarrassing me, Jeremy, by making me do that. But
I love it.
Showing everybody I have a binder right by my office.
That's awesome.
Matt, thanks for joining. We'll be right with you, but we're just chatting. And
all right. So
favorite books.
The best book that I'm recommending to everybody, and I just read it within a weekend, it's called Down to the Wire. And it's a business biography written by the guy that started Windy City Wire, which is a Chicago-based company. And it reads like a novel. It's phenomenal. His name is escaping me, but that's the title, Down to the Wire. He talks about, getting fired, talks about gambling addiction, raising a family, having heart problems, he leaves it all on the table. And it is one of the best business books that I read. And I'm making my son read it now that I just finished it, and I will buy him around
Is
a golf.
that Rich Galgano? Is that the right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
He's a Chicago guy. A lot of fun, really good marketer, really good salesman, really good entrepreneur. So highly recommend that book.
Awesome. And then podcast. Favorite podcast could be podcast, a guest, like an episode that you like.
I like All In, right? But it's getting a little too political, right? But I liked it when they talked about business. Now they're the big guys in Washington, D.C., but I like that a lot. From a tactical perspective, I like 30 30 Minutes to President's Club, right? Because I deal with a lot of young salespeople. And so I always make them listen to that because those guys are young. And,
what is it called though?
It's 30 Minutes to President's Club.
Interesting. Okay.
And the other one is All In, which is the three guys. I forget their Chatham and these other two guys. So
yeah, it's fantastic, that one.
Yeah.
Apps and software. Favorite apps and software could be on your phone, your computer. I'm gonna again.
So I like Hollow, right? We talked a little bit about that. I like Hollow, right? Which kind of Hollow is one that will read you the Bible in a year. It's got all the different guys, so I enjoy that a lot. I'm tracking my macros and my micros. I'm trying to get as many pull-ups as Jeremy could do by the end of this year. So I got my net diary.
You're buff. Duncan, when Duncan was hanging out, Duncan, off you can go on video. He was like, "Who is that buff guy at the dinner?" And I was like, Nick was telling me how much he benches, and he could bench he could dominate me.
So, but I'm still, hey, Duncan, good to see you. I saw your video the other day on your TikTok or Facebook. I thought it was the coolest thing that you did. But no, I got to get to your pull-ups. I'm woefully behind on my pull-up number. So my net diary is one that I like from, I think like everybody, I'm in ChatGPT, just trying to get better and better at it. I think it is the future. The one thing that I like is Go Full Page, which allows you to kind of steal everybody's landing page and save it to a PDF. Go Full Page, because I'm forever taking 1,000 screenshots, then forgetting which way they all land together. So I like that.
Go Full Page?
Go Full Page, I believe, is it? Yes. It's an icon, right? So once it's an icon, I forget the name. Go Full Page, correct.
Is it like a Chrome extension or an app?
It is a Chrome extension.
A Chrome extension, okay.
Yeah. And because I'm dyslexic, I'd be lost without Grammarly. Or you would never want to read any of my messages or emails or anything because they would not make any sense.
Yeah. I mean, you remind me, it's like sometimes I forget just to go to Chrome extension, the Chrome extension store and just look to see what's there.
Yeah.
So thanks for the reminder on that. Cause I always am speeding up video or doing something. And I'm like, there's probably 72 Chrome extensions that I could put on for free, most of them today. So I love that. That's great. Nick, I know you're busy. So again, feel free to stay. If you need to hop off at any point, just hop off. I know since both Duncan and Matt has like so many kids, young kids. I do, Matt, want to get to you because I know you have a million things to do. So I'm going to
hear how my day went today.
What's that?
Wait till you hear how my day went today.
Oh God. I'm going to piggyback you and Duncan together. So Duncan, just tell people what you do in your website. Again, Duncan's one of the biggest givers, connectors, amazing entrepreneurs like everyone here. So Duncan, tell people your company, what you do in your website so people can check it out.
I'm Duncan, and I'm the founder of Firebelly Marketing. We are a social media and email marketing agency focused on small and medium-sized food and beverage brands. And website's firebellymarketing.com.
Awesome. And then I'm going to come to you in a second about your favorite books. I'm going to piggyback off you and Matt. So Matt,
Duncan,
Matt,
do you work with Greater Than, also Chicago brand?
Not yet.
Are they still around? I haven't seen them.
Terrible drink, but they found a niche. My buddy runs it. It's a terrible drink, but they found a niche in breastfeeding
That's
women.
a great testimonial right there. They found a niche.
They were like struggling for so long until they got put on like the aisle with all the things that breastfeeding women eat, and they just exploded.
Wait, breastfeeding? Aren't they a coconut energy drink?
Yeah, yes. But when women are having trouble producing enough breast milk, somebody went to the internet and said, this has been the greatest thing for producing more milk for my kids or whatever it is for my breastfeeding child. And it blew up from there. And so now they are that.
I thought one of the founders is from Highland Park.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, they're.
So they're both of them from Highland Park?
They're two brothers.
Okay. So you know them. How do you know them?
I mean, Jody's friends with John. Jody's right now on a trip in Scottsdale or fucking one of these places. I think Santa Fe with John's wife. They've been friends for a long time. So it's too late.
What's funny is I was in the gym working out the other day and someone had a Greater Than t-shirt, and I only know it because I'm local. And I'm like, oh, are they back, or this guy has a vintage T-shirt? Because I haven't seen them.
They're bigger than back and better than ever. Terrible drink.
Well,
Terrible
you're
drink.
gonna have to get them on the podcast, Duncan, on the Firebelly show. The founders of Greater Than.
Maybe so.
Like how they niched, and we won't mention what Matt said about their taste terrible.
I heard from a friend that it's a great drink.
I've had it before. It's not bad. I mean,
he sent me like a case of them, and I was like,
"Is it too sweet or what?"
No, I love pure coconut water is like my favorite drink in the world. But no, it's just like, why pervert coconut water with other terrible things? Sorry, I've stolen the prompt here.
No, I'm gonna have Duncan share his favorite books. But Matt, I'm gonna first, so I can just have both of you share these questions, these answers. Tell people about what you do and your website. Matt,
to me. Oh, sorry,
yeah.
we're
go ahead.
Keyrenter Property Management, KeyrenterPMC.com. We manage single family residential property.
And why'd you get into that?
Oh, I was buying properties with my sister in Boulder, Colorado, and moved to Tulsa where my wife is, and started buying properties and realized it's a good recurring revenue business. It puts me right in the pipeline of buying properties. Love it.
And Matt is also a pilot as well. So if you need to fly anywhere, he'll pick you up. So Duncan, favorite books, and then Matt, I'm going to go to you. Your favorite books, Duncan.
The reason I didn't want to come is because I don't like to talk about business things very much, and y'all are all, in heaven talking about business. So I'm really loving Matt right now. We're keeping it real. My favorite books are not business books.
Like what? That's fine.
I like the History of the American People. It's by Paul Johnson. I've read that book again and again in different parts, and it's a wonderful way to contextualize a lot of things that have happened and happen. You understand a lot about where the social and cultural parts of the United States originated, and just maybe if I had read that book, I may not have come to America if I'd read it before I came to America. But it's a great book. I like
Duncan's
Siddhartha.
of Indian descent, and his dream was to be a cowboy.
That's right. Yeah, it didn't work, Matt.
There's time.
You got to go to where Matt lives, right?
There's time left.
You got to go to Arizona.
Oh, I've ridden. I mean, Dr. Wise and I have learned how to ride horses, and we've actually ridden together in the southern part of Colorado. But
not on the same horse at the same time, just for you visually.
Come on, you can be proud of our bromance. I really like Siddhartha. It's a Herman.
Oh, I love that. That's a great book. Yeah.
So Herman has a book that I come back to from time to time. I typically try to read things that are as far removed from business as I can. I like to put things that I don't do in my daily life into my brain so that I can find inspiration in those things. I just read Broken Girls by Simone St. James, I think, and it's a book about it occurs in two different timelines. It occurs in 1950 and 2014 at the same time. I was telling you about it one day when I was at the gym, Dr. Weiss, and it's about two sets of murders that happen at different times, and the supernatural overlaps it. And I like creepy things. So.
And you said you didn't have books, right? So those are great ones. Matt, what about you? What books are on your list? Go-to list?
Yeah, I'm the kind of reader that has like a stack of books by my bed at all times, and I'm reading like a couple of different books. So right now I'm reading like Family Wealth, which I think is fantastic. And I'm reading Cormac McCarthy's Blood Meridian. But if I go to like my favorite books of all time, reality, I'd have to go to My Uncle Oswald and Switch Bitch. If you've not read, you all know Matilda and the James and the Giant Peach, but if you don't know Roald Dahl's adult fiction, it is phenomenal. I mean, My Uncle Oswald is about Oswald's nephew who finds the protagonist of this book, I guess, who finds his Uncle Oswald's cases of diaries from travels around the world. He was a grade A fornicator. I mean, just single man who put the greatest charm and charisma into the world's most elevated women and found great success. And so the nephew finds these digests, these diaries from his uncle and just recounts some stories. They are phenomenal. I mean, it's just a great story. And then Switch Bitch is a bunch of short stories. If you think, all the stuff that Roald Dahl wrote that are kids fiction are all fantastic, right? As a kid, his short stories for adults are charming, are engaging, are like last minute switches. So love that. I recently read The Dove Flyer, which is great. Which is a great book that was recommended to me by an Israeli chef that was staying at my house for longer than he should have. Old timer, like a 82-year-old Iraqi chef. I've always loved
for you while he was there.
What's that?
Did he cook for you?
We did like an EO dinner. We did a Shabbat dinner. We did and another dinner for the family. He cooked a bunch of times. And
what was any favorite dishes that he made?
I mean, he made makluba. Everything is in his repertoire is just a combination of garlic, olive oil, and salt for the most part, right? Which is like, how can you go wrong? Whether you add in rice or chicken or fish and a lot of cilantro and parsley. He made tons of phenomenal dishes and left us with a bunch of cookbooks that he signed. So it was fun.
I love it.
I think Gabriel Garcia Marquez is, best all time, Love in the Time of Cholera, 100 Years of Solitude. I just think back to books that I've read multiple times because it doesn't happen frequently, given what I said about the stack of books on my bedside table. So Shantaram, yeah,
I love it.
And The Go-Giver, of course, The Go-Giver is like a fable.
Bob Berg, yeah.
Go-Giver is just short.
I'm gonna have to reach out to Bob Berg. It's like the third time someone's mentioned his book.
I know,
it's impressive.
Exactly. He's a fan.
Wait, you guys know the author?
Yeah, I'll text.
He's been on the podcast.
I'll put him in touch. Are you?
You should have him on yours, Matt.
I'd love to have him on ours.
Okay,
I'll connect you, Matt.
I mean, has he written all of them? The Go-Giver for Sales, The Go-Giver. He's written the original and all the other ones.
Yeah,
he's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a great book. Is it ZALK? Is that your handle on Instagram?
I don't do any Instagram. I don't do any.
If you message
He's on
me
LinkedIn.
Cell phone, I'll connect you guys on text.
Yeah.
Nice.
What's the other book that Bob did before Go-Giver?
Here's my number in the text.
Cool.
Didn't he do another big book before he did Go-Giver?
Yeah, Endless Referrals.
There we go.
He's known for.
Yeah.
By the way, he's the most shy, introverted dude you've ever met. Like I've invited him out to all sorts of functions, like cool things, and never once does he have any interest in going.
Yeah, he's got some great books. So Matt, you should definitely have him on.
Okay.
Yeah. Podcasts. It could be favorite podcast or favorite episode of a podcast. Duncan, obviously we'll shout the Firebelly Marketing Show. I don't know if there was a favorite guest, but other podcasts or favorite episodes for you.
Favorite guest on the Firebelly podcast, probably Asma Khan. She's kind of a global icon. She was on Chef's Table season 6, episode 3 on Netflix, and uses food as a connector, as education, as breaking down of walls. She also has the only Indian restaurant in the world with Michelin stars and an all-female, professionally untrained staff. So, and she's got books, and I mean, she's just she goes into hot spots to work with women. Like you wouldn't believe it. So I love that episode.
It's so funny you say that, Duncan, because Chef Moshe, who's the guy that stayed with me, was also on Chef's Table, some episode, whatever else. Interesting, very interesting show.
I feel like I have seen that episode actually when you were saying the name of the dish. Anyway, I like Song Exploder, and I like All Songs Considered, which is on NPR, because I keep up with a lot of music. So it's a very easy way for me to keep up with like what's going on with music very quickly. And then I like Better Me. I just started using Better Me. It's a workout app. And so in the case that I'm not working out with my trainer, or I don't know what to do, then I go to Better Me. So those are my
Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. Matt, your favorite podcasts or podcast episodes?
I definitely listen to All In pretty religiously, although I don't. Is it Nicholas or Nicola?
Nicholas.
I agree with Nick a little bit that it's gotten a little bit tired, but I still do rely on it for a good portion of my news because I don't like look at any news basically. So I take highlights from that, which is probably very sad to hear. I listen to Founders a good amount, which is he just reads biographies of the greatest founders in business. And then Duncan, to your point, I think this guy DJ Raj out of Lebanon, out of Beirut, he just puts together great mixes of music, and I'm always super excited to listen to what he puts out. So I do that. On the app side, all my work apps. But I don't do anything else. The most exciting thing that I found in tech lately is Clara.ai, and it's a scheduling app. Like, how many times does somebody say, "Hey, let's do lunch," and you're like, oh, "Fuck," and you either send them a Calendly link, and you're kind of a jerk for doing it. And what you're saying is, my time is more valuable than yours, so find a time. So you take your time to schedule something that fits with me. I just type in at Clara, can you schedule a time? And she's got back end access to my calendar, and she says, Jeremy, I'd like to present the following options that Matt could meet for lunch at 12:30 Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, whatever, and it goes from there. And so she follows up with the calendar apps. If you have to reschedule, she reschedules. If you have multiple people, she does it. It's awesome, and it's still in beta. Company out of New York, and they're working on stuff all the time. It's not perfect. Sometimes you look like an idiot for looping in somebody who's a total moron. And it's like somebody on your team's really just totally brain dead. But 90% of the time it works really well.
So someone doesn't know it's an app when you're looping them in, right?
The only way you do is because it's right now it's Clara beta. It's
because you looped this in with one of our conversations. I did not know it was an app.
She totally messed up that one, right?
No, it didn't mess up. I just know. I think you maybe it booked before. I don't know if you booked it or
I booked it because she was messing the whole thing up, and I sent it to feedback at Claire.
But I did not know that. You just go, I already booked it, and then I didn't.
She's phenomenal. Yeah. The only downside is right now it's Clara, at Clara at beta.ai or something like that. Eventually, when they take it out of beta, I will name it, Jeremy at KeyrenterPMC.com, and I'll be like, Jeremy, can you schedule this in, and nobody will actually ever know.
Yeah.
Unless she totally messes things up.
I didn't know when we were communicating. And by the way, like the language I like to use, because I do like to send my calendar link, but I'm happy to book on theirs. I don't want to seem like my time's more important. Yeah. So I do say, listen, send me your calendar link so I can book on your calendar, or here's mine. Yeah. Right. And so that's a nice way. I'm not implying, Matt, my time's more important, because I have sent you messages like that, but I'm happy to book on yours in most of the time. Sometimes people don't have one, and it's more convenient, like, for them to just look at the schedule as opposed to going back and forth with 7 email exchanges.
Just to be clear, I don't internalize it that way. I feel like other people may internalize it that way.
No, that could be true, but that's the language I use. Hopefully it helps with like not signaling I'm not more important or anything like that. So, but anyways, no, I appreciate that. Any other app software you use? No,
everything I do on my phone is business.
Business is fine. It doesn't have to be personal.
So what I use AppFolio, our property management software, and PandaDoc. I'm always in looking at who's signing new.
I love PandaDoc,
and who's signing new leases. And
PandaDoc is one of the best suggestions I've gotten for a software ever. Actually, when we first started using it.
Is that like a DocuSign?
It's much better, but yes. Right, Matt?
Ours we use HubSpot to do all of our deals. So like if you're a new client coming in, you'll get or you're a tenant on a lease, you'll get a PandaDoc, and integrates through and has all these messages that come, everything follows on through HubSpot, and PandaDoc is their I think preferred provider. So we use it because of that.
It's amazing. It's great. We love it.
You guys collect payment through it, which we don't. We should probably actually do that and get owners to give a $500 contribution when they sign the contract.
Yeah, it's amazing. And you could actually see in it's kind of like a proposal contract, and you can go in and you can see where people viewed in the document and how, like, the percentage and how long they stayed on each section. So if there's like kind of a dull section. Like, did they skip over this? Did they actually read this or not? You can see.
You know which tenants are going to be good by who spent a little bit of time looking at a document. Like,
yeah.
If you spent less than 10 seconds and signed in 15 spots, I'm like, that's not a good.
Well, or they're just a quick decision maker like you.
Well, there are a lot of terms in that lease. It's like 30 pages. So I think you should read.
I agree. But no, first of all, thank you all. I know you're all busy. It's Friday afternoon. This was great. And this episode will go out together. You guys will have each other's info and everything like that. So thanks everyone.
What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I'm feeling like $100 grand.